Welcome to One on One, the Daily Items weekly digital program featuring Susquehanna Valley newsmakers interviewed by Daily Item reporters. Today's guest is Pennsylvania State Trooper Rick Blair, interviewed by Francis Scarcella.
It's cloaked in stunning designer attire, a statement of fashion from every angle, unashamed of its opulence, but nothing you didn't already expect from Lincoln.
Unveil innovation with purpose with the 2019 Lincoln MKC. Or the all-new 2019 Lincoln Nautilus. Luxury features that perform.
Sunbury Motors Lincoln, run by the Mertz family since 1915.
Welcome to One on One. I'm Francis Scarcella, and today we're being joined with Trooper Rick Blair. You are the Camp Cadet person. You also do active shooter training, which we're going to get into, but let's get right into Camp Cadet because it's very important to this greater Susquehanna Valley. It's a hugely successful program, which everyone knows, and it continues to grow. So I've actually been involved with helping you guys for a long time as putting it out there. Ex-trooper Matt Burrows did it, and now you've taken it over, and you've just taken the ball and run fantastically with this. So give us a little bit about how it started, what's to come. I know you have a bunch of dates we'll get into. There are things that are coming up, but give us a little bit of the history of it.
All right, well, camp started back in, I think, around 2006 when retired Trooper Matt Burrows started it. There wasn't a Camp Cadet program in this area at the time. There's about 20 or so across the state. So Matt started the one here in our area about 13, 14 years ago now. It is run by the state police. It is not funded by the state police, which is a big misconception. Right. People think since it's our camp that the state gives us funds to run it, but it's not funded by the state or by any other agency. A Camp Cadet, the Susquehanna Valley Law Enforcement Camp Cadet is the official title. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we have to raise the money for camp every year, just like any other nonprofit.
And that's the hard part throughout because it's pretty much a year job.
Correct. It is. It is. I've been in the state police for 21 years, but this may be one of the hardest things I've had to do is trying to raise money for camp. And that's because, there's a lot of people asking for things, other organizations, other great organizations who need to fund their projects also.
What does it cost just for a camp with how many kids?
Right. Usually we've been in like about the 75 to 85 kids, and then we usually have about another 25 staff members. Camp's been costing us somewhere probably around $35,000 a year. But
for the week.
For the week. But that's for uniforms for the kids and the staff. It's for insurance. It's for food. It's for room and board. Mm-hmm. We're at SU and they cut us some breaks, but it still adds up. Insurance, and then there's all these little added things that always end up that
and that's it just keeps increasing, right? Because years ago it was 15, maybe 20, and now you're into the
now we're consistently 75 to 85 is where we're at. So we figure it costs nearly $500 for that week.
For the week.
But the kids are there. They stay overnight.
Mm-hmm. That's at Susquehanna University.
Yep.
It is you were doing it for.
Yep.
And that's usually in June, right?
It's June 16th through the 21st this year.
And I know one of the cool things about Camp Cadet is you guys, we'll get into a bunch of the programs, but you guys also, some of the graduates have come back. I remember being there when some of the graduates of the camp who have later gone into, we did a feature story here on somebody who had left Camp Cadet and then ended up going to the state police and graduating and becoming a state trooper.
Right. Yeah, we have there's two local troopers who went to our camp years ago and now said they're troopers.
And how does that reflect on the camp itself?
Well, that's great. It's great that we can have some of those kids now, just who are reaching that age to get into our jobs.
For parents who may not know about exactly how the week goes, just give us a breakdown of what happens throughout the week.
Okay. Well, first I like to tell camp. It's for kids who might be interested in law enforcement and the military, but it's not just for them. Mm-hmm. Our camp is a lot of structure and teamwork and discipline in it. So it's I'd say probably a lot of our kids who come maybe aren't interested in the military or law enforcement, but it gives them a little taste of also what we do, because we kind of have it set up like the State Police Academy, where we're up early in the morning doing PT, and then we have stuff scheduled throughout the whole day. So we're going from like 5 o'clock in the morning until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And we have programs. There's a lot of state police equipment, a lot of law enforcement equipment.
Right. I know one of the big things when they bring the helicopters.
Helicopters. Last year we were able to. My son is in the military in the National Guard, and he got a Black Hawk helicopter to come last year.
And the kids seem to love that.
Yeah, we all love it.
Yeah,
it's not just the kids.
yeah.
So they get to see a lot of things like that. But then thrown in there also are, team building exercises, things about discipline and structure. Motivational speakers that we have come in. So there's a whole.
So there's classroom work with it as well. You go inside the classroom as well instead of being outside all the time too.
Yep. It's a nice mix of everything. So some of it they're going to sit in the classroom for an hour and listen to, someone who's got a good message to tell. And then we might be outside watching the helicopters land.
Right. And I know as being a trooper and taking over Matt's job as the public information officer as well, but that's not why this comes with the territory. But that's not why you were doing this long before. Anyway, you always loved this camp.
Yeah, I was part of Camp Cadet when I spent most of my career stationed at Selinsgrove. So when I was in patrol and crime, I'd go down and help out and take a patrol car down to show the kids and things like that.
Yep.
My kids have all gone through Camp Cadet.
Yeah, that's right. I knew that. And you're into all of those kind of programs, even the seatbelt for the babies with the strapping in the car seats. You do all of those kind of programs. So just give us a little bit of background on all of that, as well as how important some of these things that people may not know. Because you look at state police and everybody gets nervous, but there's a lot of good things that you guys are out there doing on the side.
Yeah, it's a little wrong impression when they're nervous all the time. We're not always there for something bad when we walk in the door.
Yeah.
We do, as far as my job goes, it's a lot of, presentations of different things. I might go do presentations at schools for bullying or sexting or things like that. As you said a little earlier, I do nowadays a lot of active shooter presentations, just trying to give people some ideas of what they can do to be better prepared in case they're ever in a situation like that. Along with that, like I said, I'm a child passenger safety seat technician. So I'm certified to, and there's other troopers at every barracks who are certified to, teach people to install car seats. There's a misconception there where people think we install their car seats, but we want to teach them how to do it. So that way they can do it in another vehicle and make sure their kids are safe when they need to be.
Well, we're going to come right back, and I know you have a bunch of dates that are coming up for Camp Cadet for the fundraising drive that's starting now, and it's we're getting down to the wire now, coming up to June for the camp. So we'll be right back with Trooper Rick Blair.
It's cloaked in stunning designer attire, a statement of fashion from every angle, unashamed of its opulence, but nothing you didn't already expect from Lincoln.
Unveil innovation with purpose with the 2019 Lincoln MKC. Or the all-new 2019 Lincoln Nautilus, luxury features that perform.
Sunbury Motors Lincoln, run by the Mertz family since 1915.
Welcome back to One on One. We're being joined with Trooper Rick Blair. So tell us about the dates for Camp Cadet. I know that you guys do a lot of fundraising events and stuff like that. So give us all the dates and everything we need to know.
Yep. Well, camp itself, June 16th through the 21st. So, we try to raise as much money we can before camp to help pay for camp. The next date coming up really is February 20th. That's our fundraiser at Applebee's. Now, we've changed the venue for that this year. We've done it for all these years at the Lewisburg Applebee's. The manager there who started it moved to North Carolina. The board of directors for Camp Cadet and I felt maybe it'd be a good time to move the event to Selinsgrove. It's not that far away. A few things. The restaurant's a little bit bigger there. The staff is well aware of how to do an event like that because they do one for military veterans also there. And actually, a lot of the staff, when we did it in Lewisburg, some of the staff from Selinsgrove would come up. So
that's the big fun one, right? I know the troopers love that because afterwards they get to sing. I remember that they sing the karaoke. And
right. And a lot of our guys just like to do that. It's a good time to interact with the community, with people who come there. What happens in that event is there might be some troopers or local law enforcement or those who help out with Camp Cadet come and try to act like they're waiters and waitresses, and then all the tips go to camp. So it's great for the Applebee's staff is great because they give up all the tips that they normally would have got in that 4-hour period from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m.
Right. Is that one of your biggest fundraisers?
It is.
That
It
is,
is.
yeah.
And we're hoping that maybe even by a little move. It used to generate a little bit more money. Maybe a shake up, a little change in venue. It might also bring in some people we hope from the Selinsgrove area, maybe some new donors.
Sure, because I
sponsors,
think
stuff
the
like that.
misconception is that because it's been going so long that you have this huge kitty built up, and that's not the case.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty much a year-to-year event. I remember a couple years ago it was in danger because it was, and then we kind of picked up towards the end. But so it's not like you have $1 million sitting in the bank.
No, it's a never-ending battle. I have a new appreciation for people who run nonprofit organizations and do this all the time. I mean, I guess I do it all the time now too.
Right.
But it is not as easy as it may seem to be at times, and it's important. I mean, obviously, without the money, we can't run the program.
run.
It's that simple.
Right.
And I think we're doing some great things for kids. We get some great letters and some great. I run into kids at the schools all the time, and the coolest thing I think is when I go to a school to give a presentation on something else, and some kid walks in wearing his Camp Cadet shirt.
Or remembers you. I mean, that's basically what it is. They get that fear, which we'll talk about, of state troopers in general out of them because they say, "Hey, I know him. I was at the camp."
Yeah.
What other dates do you have coming up?
We'll have a golf tournament May 6th at Windy Brook Golf Course. That's our spring golf tournament. And then we have another one in the fall out at Shade Mountain.
So basically, these are the last two events you have coming up now. Is the golf tournament and the night at the Applebee's. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're important. They're
Yeah.
important. Now, what if somebody else wants to they can't get there, they can't make it, they just want to make a donation?
Yep.
How does that work?
There's a number of ways they can, contact me at the Milton Barracks. They can send a check there. We also take donations from our Facebook page and our website too.
What is the website? Just so
the
people
website's www.svlecc.com. So Susquehanna Valley Law Enforcement Camp Cadets.
And there's no donation that will not be accepted. So donate as much as possible and help out the kids. So,
yeah, I mean that's as much as you hate to ask for things,
Right.
but the camp works well. It's really cool to watch the kids during the week because something these kids don't get either is, they come on Sunday and they don't have their cell phones for the week. They don't call mom and dad. They don't watch TV. They don't look at a computer for 6 days. And
that's a wonderful thing nowadays. Anyway.
Yeah. And the first couple of days, or when I go to school, some of the kids think, well, I'll ask them, do you think you can go 6 days without your cell phone? And I don't get many hands that get raised. And I tell them, well, that's why you should come, because I'm going to show you, you don't need your phone. And so they come, and the first couple of days or so, 2 or 3 days, there's a little bit of shock in their system because we're structured and we're disciplined, and we don't put up with any nonsense while we're there.
Right.
But then the kids who really act, you think they want to go home the first couple of days and they're asking to call their mom and dads, by the time we get to the end of the week, they're the same kids who are saying, I wish we didn't have to go home.
Yeah, they wanted a couple extra days.
Yeah,
I've interviewed a bunch of kids who have said that.
Yeah.
So, well, that's great news about Camp Cadet, and we wish you the best of luck. Let's get into the state police itself right now. So, I know we've talked a million times off the record too about law enforcement and the misconception, especially in this day and age with everything else. So, I think we're very fortunate in our area that a lot of our state troopers are from here, so they know a lot of the community members like that. But do you think that makes a difference as far as our community here? I know some guys get stationed in as well too, but just seeing what you see in your 21 years, how have things changed in the state police?
Well, obviously the big change is social media. When I started 21 years ago, we didn't have that. So that's the big thing, and that everything can instantly be seen, scrutinized. People can say whatever they want. And things like that. I mean, in some aspects, some of that technology it's great, and in some ways it's good. But it doesn't always do justice for an incident when someone posts 10 seconds of an incident that lasted for 10 or 15 minutes.
Do you give your guys advice on that, and as far as always being nowadays watching everything?
Yeah, we I mean, obviously we're told you better act like that someone is videotaping you all the time. And they it's rare that somebody's not videotaping.
Yeah. And as far as the active shooter training, that you've been doing a lot of now, right? I mean,
that's
obviously since everything going on across the country, but in our area. So is it? I mean, obviously it is good that people are taking a more proactive stance on it. But how do you see it throughout our valley?
Yeah, I have this love-hate relationship with it because I hate to give it because of the reasons, but I love to get it because, it gives some people some good information, some things they didn't think about. It's not a cure-all if you're in that situation. People still have to make a decision, but it gives them some ideas, it gives them some planning they can do to help themselves out if they're ever in that. And then I also tell people, just remember, it's still the percentage of that ever happening to you is very slim. Even though we see it in the news every day, in different areas, and it's occurred more over the years, but still in reality, it's the chance of it happening is very slim.
Right. When you get those phone calls though, and you just always never know, I guess. So that's why it's good to be prepared, like you're doing. I know you've gone to the schools. You've talked about the bullying, as you said. You've talked about text messages between kids and all that kind of stuff. So do you think it's starting to get more and more throughout the districts and throughout the area itself? Do you think people are starting to take more and more pay attention to it? To your trainings, to listening to these things? I mean, as state police, have you seen this drop as far as bullying and the text messaging and stuff like that?
I'm not sure. I don't always hear everything that's going on in the schools and things like that, but I do know. I've heard from some schools that after I go give my presentation, they've got a lot of kids coming to them, asking them questions or
and that's
saying,
all
"Hey,
basically
something."
you can ask for.
Right. So the schools have been very proactive.
That's
a
great.
lot of them.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we're always there with you at Camp Cadet. We come every year.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, and we like to go live when they're doing their thing, especially when the helicopters are coming and everything. So thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing the results of Camp Cadet this year.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching One on One. Be sure to tune in next week for another edition.